Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and for this one, Jason gets to travel back up to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, and we get to catch up with the Director of Methodology for Atlanta United, Javier Perez, every once in a while, and find out how things are going, not just in the first team level, but we find out about the growth, everything that is a part of the fabric and the roots that are Atlanta United. And we start the conversation, or Jason does, with Javier, having to do with a very successful run on a bunch of different age groups at the MLS Next Cup in Utah, and that's the jumping off point of this conversation. So here is Jason's 1v1, our update with the Director of Methodology for Atlanta United, Javier Perez.
All right, let's start with, it was a historic kind of week plus out in Utah for the Atlanta United Academy, with 4 teams in action, 1 national champion, 1 national runner-up. How big of a week was it for the Atlanta United Academy?
Hello, Jason. First of all, thanks for having me. And I think it's been historic, and it's been historic at many fronts. We had for second consecutive year the only MLS club qualifying for the final 2 teams. So that means that we play 4 finals in 2 years. And it put us in the map as a top reference in the player development, right? But then it's not only that, you start to gather data points. That's what we try to do here. And when we look, for instance, yesterday, you see that we have 3 players in the U19 national team. We are the only MLS club having 3 players in the U19 national team. When you see, for instance, that Arif Kovac scores a record at any professional level, MLS Next Pro or MLS Next, you have to go all the way back. I think it's in 2000 with to see a five goals scored, with Clean Mathis, if I remember well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But Ari had 6 goal contribution, meaning that five goals and 1 assist, And this is one record after the next. We have players in all the national teams. We have Ignacio Suarez went now with the U17s, Mason Moscow with the U15s in international duty, right? In meaningful tournaments, because the U17 they are now preparing for the World Cup, right? And then out of that team that made the final, that they were runners up for second consecutive year, we have 8 players that they've been called during this year for the U16 national team, So when you put all these data points together, is really meaningful. And but I think what is more interesting is the U13s is our entry level, right? And something is changing, something is clicking, and we want to change the culture and have a winning culture, embracing the values, the core values that the family Blanc has for our company. But at the same time, we want to be competitive and build that winning culture, And we are doing that from the ground up. We're doing that with the younger players, and I think we can start to see that clicking with the younger age groups.
I wanted to ask you about the U13 specifically, because it is that entry point for players coming into the academy, getting into what is more of a professional environment. But the fact that you're able to bring them in, they go on and win a national championship for the first time. It's a credit to the clubs that these players have come from as well. And we've talked about this before. The overall level of player development before the players get to you has dramatically improved over the last few years.
Yeah, of course. This is a work in all fronts, right? And I would say, yes, we are grateful and fortunate to be in very talented community, very diverse. This is Atlanta. That's who we are. This is our identity. But at the same time, after the recruitment process, starting with Michael Lynch and his futures program, right? And I say he's because even if he has help, he's the one managing that space. And then all the scouting team, right? Is a number of people that they work in the recruitment process. Then the coaches. And one of the things I really enjoy, particularly during these MLS playoffs, is the camaraderie between coaches and staff, and seeing how in one of the games, all of a sudden you look at the bench and you have not only the coach of the 13s, but then the coach of the 16s and the coach of the 14s, and how they are eager to help each other and how they are rooting for each other. And I feel sometimes like, the father that enjoys seeing probably not as close to their kids, but the kids getting along very well together. And I see this. I say this in a kind way, because I truly enjoy how the staff is working together and how they enjoy these moments and how engaged and identify with the program they are.
I see much more of the Atlanta United 2 and the U18s and the U16 side of it with calling games. And I've noticed it and I've talked about it a lot over the past couple of years. I feel like that camaraderie and that togetherness has increased dramatically. And it feels like everybody is pushing the badge forward, pushing the club forward. How do you create an environment that does that?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I have to say, this was much more challenging than what I initially thought when I came here. But first and foremost, you have to have good people around that they have fundamental values, and that's the starting point. Beyond having good coaches, beyond having good admins, beyond having good scouts, good people, And I think we had a group of good people with good thoughts and good intentions, And after it's just a matter of creating a platform where they can connect, and that's what we are doing. And now, since we have been in an ongoing process for a little bit over 2 years, you start to see that this is clicking, this is working, So it's the time to capitalize on the results and enjoy these moments, because as you know, the success in football is not static, it's dynamic, right? And it's like, well, now you are this successful academy. Well, we are not, because we are moving. And if we are not moving with everybody else, we are not going to be successful for a very long time, right? So that's very important that everybody understands that this is an ongoing process.
You also mentioned the Blank family, and I think it's really important to note this because when we talk about the great academies worldwide, and I always go back to the class of 92 with Manchester United, and I go to the La Masia class that had Busquets and Xavi and Iniesta and Messi, and I know they were a couple different generations, but roughly the same time. Those were two clubs that had strong leadership values in place, either administrators, people organizing it, or owners of the club, or presidents of the club. How important is the Blank family values to creating that club value and that academy set of values?
Yeah, I would say that's everything. And it's tied with the answer that I gave prior, right?
Mhm.
You need to have the right people. You need to have the people that they have integrity, they have values, and then everything else comes after. And obviously, the Blank family, they are extremely successful, and they know how to build a business, how to support people, and how to believe in people. And I feel that way with them. And I got three different emails from Mr. Blank. So when you think about someone at his level is able to connect that way with the associates, and he cares so much at all levels of the company, that gives you energy, that gives you motivation to continue and make a better work. And it's the same for the rest of the department. We feel that we are in a special place, and the better way to um, say thank you is to put all the energy and work to the best of your ability, matching the values of the company.
The U16 group, you mentioned it. This is the second straight year that they've been to a national final. And I know talking to Colby coming into it, he came into that group midway through, but he could feel the urgency, the push for that team to go and do it again. And I've seen some of the posts from the players who got so close and came up just short. How much, in a way, from your experience in the game, do you see that it's not a positive that they lost, but it's a positive that now they're going to continue to bounce back and push harder to force that issue and win for the club?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I have to dig behind scenes to answer that question, right? I would say, excuse me, as a person, I work not difference by inches, difference by millimeters,
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think we did that this year. Why we did that this year? Because one of the things I like to do is to promote people. I like to give opportunities to people, and I think everybody in the department sees that. And we started with giving an opportunity to Jose as a head coach. Now we needed to provide Jose with a good setup around him, and the one that he was able to help in the most, it was Will Bates, that he was the U16's coach. Now what happens is you create a domino effect, and when Will Bates goes at the beginning of the choose season, leaves a huge hole in the U16 team at mid-season, because the seasons of the
Hmm.
second and the academy are inverted or
Yeah.
different, right?
Yeah.
While the second team starts in January, the academy starts in August. Now, in in the next year, we're gonna have everything in sync,
Right.
and it will be much easier. But this year wasn't.
Right.
Selfishly, I would keep Will Bates in the U16s and say until the end of the season, we don't make changes. But because one of our core values in the company is put people first, right? I put people first. I thought it was the right thing to do to promote the people that they deserve it, regardless the consequences that we were gonna face in terms of performance. So we promoted Colby from the U13s into the
Mhm.
U16s. Now we have to hire a new coach with the new 13s.
Right.
So Colby was borderline catching up with that team, and he catch up at the very last minute with everything because of his work ethic.
Yeah.
And then we have Colin catching up with the U13s, who was probably training for a little bit over a month before he made that team national
Wow.
champions, right?
Wow.
So we have a lot of work behind the scenes trying to connect the coaches. And actually, I think the part-time coaches, they deserve a lot of credit in this, because they've been super, super helpful. People like Luke Collins or Joel McElroy, or or Skyler, right? They've been coaches that their level of commitment is second to none, and that's the kind of environment that we've been creating with good people that they are willing to help each other and push the envelope for the success of the academy.
What's so fascinating is that carries over to the player side as well, as players move up through the academy. And this has been consistent when I talk to players, and even somebody like Braden Dunham, who is in college now but came to the academy. Spoke to him yesterday, and he's like, I watch the games all the time. I'm rooting Cooper on from my couch. I'm watching Dominic. I watch these guys and I live it with these guys. That togetherness of as players and coaches move up the chain, they still support the overall objective, which is to help everybody become the best version of themselves that they can be.
100%. Look, we have Cooper Sanchez. He's playing consistently every game. Jonah Ramson, that is now with the first team on a daily basis. And they come. We have an evening that is a party for everybody in the academy, and they come and they behave like one more of the kids.
That's awesome.
And we have a Gianni Fortune that he's coming at 8 o'clock in the morning just to chat with the coaching staff of the second team. And all these things, when you look at the way these young men behave, these young athletes, you feel really proud because you think, well, a few things they have been done the right way, because it's not just, okay, I come, I play, I get my way, and then I disappear, right? You see the level of commitment, they remember where they come from, and they are willing to give back, which is very important.
And you've seen this around the world and the clubs and the places that you've been. And I think in the United States, we maybe have never really had this across the board. And just because of the amount of time that clubs have been around, I mean, Atlanta United's in its 10th season. And now you're at the point where you have a Jay Fortune who went through the entire pathway, where you have somebody like Aiden Torres who started in RDS and is a professional. And they get it in a way that maybe previous generations of players in this country didn't have that same connection to a badge. You just didn't have that same overall family relationship that is growing here.
Yeah, and look, it's the same thing that you were asking before with the Blank family. When
Mm-hmm.
they built this club, they had a vision of building a world-class organization. And this is really what it is. It's a world-class organization where the likes of Real Madrid or Barcelona, where the players, they are extremely proud to be part of that. And we are building that culture. And now we see some of these academy players breaking for real into the first team. When you see the performance of Cooper Sanchez and Gianni Fortune during this season is remarkable. It is to the level of any player in the first team roster. And now we need to create more of these stories. We have an extremely talented 2010 group. All these players, they are breaking now into the second team. We have other players like Arif, that he scored 7 goals in the last games. And all these players, they are knocking on the door. They are uh, willing to make their mark in the club and in the highest stage, which is the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
It's fascinating to see these kinds of layers to it. And I wanted to ask you about Atlanta United too for a second, because I think one of the underrated things of last week's big win at home was probably out of all the MLS Next Pro teams, the only team that had four call ups of players who have played regularly to international duty, and then probably a few more players that weren't available that you could have brought in that were away on youth national team duty, and they still get the win. And Henry and Jardines get their starting debuts. And on my call, I said that Andrew Jardines was the best player on the field.
I don't disagree with that. Andrew Jardines was the best player in playoffs, period.
Yeah.
Not in our team,
Wow.
in the entire event.
Wow.
And it was remarkable. And proof of that, he comes and he makes his mark in that game. When changing systems, playing only with two players in midfield, covering all the ground, Um, but I would say this, when I was last night looking into the data of the game, and we double the opponent Chicago in the XG, right? In the goal creation opportunities. But then when you start digging into the small details, Andrew Jardines and Arif Kovac, they are the two players that they were uh, making the most impact from the pressure point of
Yep.
view,
Yep.
which is a big identity of our style of play. And we just have a number of players that they fit well into our style of play. And Andrew is one of them. And he's going to get more opportunities. He's a special player.
To kind of put a bow on this, we were both down at the Arthur and Blank U.S. Soccer National Training Center yesterday watching that USU 19 match. And there were three players who had come through the Atlanta United Academy who played, and all played well. Braden Dunham was one of the best players in the second group of U.S. players. What is it like for you to see, and not just those three, but those are the three we got to see yesterday, but Suarez Corey with youth national teams, Brennan with youth national teams, Alan Carlton, who came through the academy and went to Europe, is now in youth national teams. So many players who have come from the Atlanta United Academy are impacting youth national teams worldwide as well as the club.
This is extremely important because number one, this is something that the owner of the club, Mr. Blank, has been supportive.
Mhm.
We support US soccer, but also because with the experience of the years, every national team player at a youth level, it creates leverage and value for himself and thereafter for the club.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, these are human assets that they are capable to perform in the international scene, right? We have you forgot about Luke Brennan that is
Yes.
right now the
There was
U21.
one more.
Yeah, but look, these are the these are the key events. We have probably players in every national team from every age group, all the way from the U15s up. And Luke Brennan now, I think he's preparing for the Olympics with that team. If
Right.
if I'm if
He would
I'm
be in
right,
that age group.
yeah. We have three players in the bubble for the U20 World Cup.
Mhm.
Uh, to your point, Braden Dannon yesterday was outstanding. I think he covered the other center back from Chicago a couple of times to a point that he prevented two clear goal scoring opportunities. And so we have three in that potential U20 World Cup roster: Braden Dannon, Cooper Sanchez, and Dom Chonqui. Um, then Arif Kovac is in the bubble, and Santi Pita as well, that he
Yeah.
was he
Yep.
was in Europe. And then in the U17 World Cup potential roster, we have Ignacio Suarez and James Donaldson, that he's been consistently the goalkeeper for that age group. So now you are talking about the three main events worldwide at a youth level, and we have representation in every team.
It's amazing to see that there are so many different players that it's easy to forget all of the names because it's just so much happening right now. Last one for me, and I wanted to ask a little bit about that Unite team group because you have somebody like Cooper who has broken straight into the first team really quickly and is impacting games there. you have somebody like Dominic who has went up and down, and now he's really starting to build strong with Atlanta United too. And then you have a player like Braden who was a late bloomer and came out of nowhere at the very end of his academy run and was one of the best freshmen in the country in college last year. The different trajectories, because all three of those guys represent three different ways to get to where they got to. How do you kind of account for that and foster that early bloomer, mid bloomer, and late bloomer?
Look, at the end of the day, every player has his own story.
Mhm.
But what we have to do is to find a way to support that player to get to the highest level. I would say this, when we recruit players, we focus on three things, and the top of the list is the character. And all these three players, they have the character, you know.
Yes.
Um, After the details, is just different for every player. You just need to support them in a different way, you know, and build their confidence and create a platform for them to excel, right? So some players they need a little bit more time. Some players they need to be pushed and play a little bit higher up. We have some of the players in the U16s that they are ready to be pushed into a choose environment, and that's what we are doing.
Mhm.
And some others they need a little bit more time. So we are not in a hurry, or we don't want to send a message that every story has to be the same, because you can. This is a testimony of how every story can be very different.
That's the perfect way to end this. Javier, thanks for the time. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll be chatting again soon because there are plenty more stories to come out of the Atlanta United Academy.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the time and covering the space, because you know it's really meaningful that our fans and the community out there they know all the work behind the scenes and the success from the academy and the second team. You know, is truly special, and that's going to transfer into the first team in a near future.